All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Sean with BlueRidgeSilverhound. And as promised, we are going to take a look at the top nickels to sell during the Central States Numismatic Show. This one, of course, hosted by Heritage Auctions. They do this year in and year out. And sales were pretty brisk, although it was kind of missing one coin that really helped define nickels. And what I mean by that is a coin that hit five figures or higher. We just didn't have that, but we had a lot of strong performers. Now, is this a result of just less supply out there to be had? Because over the last 6 to 12 months, the market has been crazy, and a lot of some of those marquee top pop full steps nickels have since been scooped up. So, I'm kind of wondering if whether or not overall supply is just really low right now. But, we do have some pretty nice coins, a real crop of sorts. We got 14 absolutely nice Jefferson nickels, and then we got 2 error nickels that are just fantastic. I wanted to get this out of the way. This isn't one of those videos that you watch and think, aha, I'm going to go ahead and send off every nickel under the sun to PCGS or NGC in the hopes of scoring something big. This is not one of those videos, but this will give you guys an accurate look at the market as it sits today. And the best way to do that, aside from looking at like eBay and great collections, is to really deep dive into some of the biggest auction sites. Like the premier auction sites, your Legend Auctions, your Heritage, Stax Bowers, David Lawrence. These are all kind of like temperature check type of auction houses that I like to peruse and use and just kind of monitor to see the overall health of the coin market. I mean, it's been really good the last 2 years. I have no doubt, even right now, as people are getting back into the hobby, or they're trying to strengthen their hobby by getting some premier pieces into their collection, they are certainly using these sites. So, enough about that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first coin on the list. And we're going to start off a little bit slow like I like to do. And we have a 1974S Jefferson nickel. This one is a proof strike. So, as you can tell from the cameo devices and the deep dark fields, this one has all the goods, and it looks it's indicative of a coin that you would expect for 1974. Oh, by the way, also much kudos to Heritage Auctions and Collectors Universe for all the outstanding images. So all the photo credits go to those guys there. But really nice looking coin, very presentable. Of course, it's going to be a perfect grade. Proof 70 is the perfect grade. It's the highest grade. All right, so that must mean something to collectors, and it sure does. More so the registry set crowd, and you could kind of make the argument that every single coin on the list, with exception of the 2 error coins, which we'll show last, fall under that registry set crowd. So I'm just going to get that out of the way so I don't have to repeat myself. But under no circumstances would I ever consider investing in any one of the first 14 coins on the list, specifically for that reason. Because what if, more of these top pop coins ends up into the populations in a 70 or at their highest respective grade for the date? Well, that's just going to make the coins go down in value. All right, so the more there are out in the marketplace, the less they're worth. And that's why I don't really would ever consider the Jefferson nickel series as an investable kind of series because of how modern it is. But anyways, this coin right here is sold for $2,640. Good looking coin, and it's a proof 70. I mean, deep cameo, it's got it all. We do have another proof coin here, although this one has no cameo whatsoever, but the date 1939. You just don't see cameo frost on a lot of these coins to begin with. They're just not out there. And if you did find one, that you're probably in a unique crowd, there's probably maybe one or two with any sort of frost on these. And even still, would it really grade out as a cameo or deep cameo, coin through PCGS or NGC? Remains to be seen. So this 1939 right here is also the reverse of 38. So it's got kind of the more wavier, more crude developed steps on this design right here on Monticello. Grade-wise, this one is actually a PCGS Proof 68. I will take that back. This would be a coin probably I would invest in, only because it's an extremely low mintage. There's just not a lot of them out there, and this is a really high grade for a coin like this. So this I would consider to be probably one of only maybe 2 or 3 investable coins on the list. Again, I got those 2 error coins at the end of the show that I think best sums up the investment quality of coin. But this is a really nice one right here, and one that you don't see that often. All right, how about 1987? This one is a Philadelphia struck coin, and it's this time it's graded NGC Mint State 68, and it says 6FS, which means that it does indeed have 6 full steps. The coin, again, registry set all together, and it's just a really nice high-end coin. Coins during the 80s, straight out of the mint, had their fair share of strike issues, and just overall planchet quality was left a lot to be desired. But this one right here, again, it's a suitable piece, and you probably come across these once in the blue moon. They are quite tough. This example sold for $1,800. Here's another one here, this time a 76D. Now, some would say that Denver struck Jefferson nickels of the 70s and 80s are so much more better in quality. They're so well struck compared to the Philadelphia coins that really there's no argument to be made, which coins look better. I mean, just looking at this one compared to the previous coin, you could tell that the luster is better. The strike, even when you don't have a full close-up of the obverse and the reverse of the coin, is certainly a lot more presentable. Something that's commensurate with, a modern 70s, 80s, and I would even add 1990s Jefferson nickel. This one is quite nice. It's an NGC Mint State 67. This time, this one has 5 full steps. So probably the bottom step is a little bit weaker than the other subsequent steps on the coin. This one here also sold for $1,800. Now, this is one of your tougher dates for full steps, but I'm glad to see one here. It's a 1970S. Now, it's not a 68S or D or a 69S or D. This is a 70, so the quality is just marginally better, not by much. This one right here, it's a good, acceptable market piece for that registry, and this is kind of like the quality that you would expect for coins of the late 60s, and then the quality of the coins just doesn't get any better until about 1972, 1973 is when you begin to see the U.S. Mint actually give a hoot about the overall maintenance of these dies. This one right here is a PCGS Mint State 66 full stepper. Pretty nice grade right there. This one sold for $3,120. Now, I can imagine a 67 will be up a lot higher, probably that $6,000 to $8,000 kind of price range right there. But, for a tier 2 of grade of this type, I mean, $3,100 isn't too bad. And you definitely don't want to ignore coins like this. Okay, 59, another tough grade for full steps designation, but here you go. Here's another one right here. So coins of the 50s, the ones that are like mint fresh, they are lacking one thing, and that's luster. These images just look flat because obviously the images doesn't capture enough luster on this coin or any 1950s coin. I think the one big date out of them all is 55. 55 shows virtually no strong luster that you would normally associate with a mint state nickel. This one right here, pretty nice. I mean, look at those steps. They are really, really well struck. Very hammered strike. This one right here is a PCGS Mid-State 67 full stepper. And this one sold for $3,487.20. This one's tough to look at because this is a great example of a coin that had some of the craziest looking issues. Now I will give this one extra bonus points because those steps look phenomenal on here. But this 1958 Philadelphia struck coins are just bad. I mean, you know, I want a new coin with lots of luster. This does not have it. As you can see, even in this image with the coin in the slab, the luster is weak. I think the only places that you would normally see luster are in the protected areas on this coin. So within the letters, maybe in the hair, the cheek, you can see a little bit of luster, and in the ponytail area. So, yeah, I mean, you know, this is a tough decade to kind of experiment with. If you were going to send coins out to PCGS from the 50s, again, you've heard me say this before, but I'm not afraid to repeat myself. It is certainly not for the faint of heart. These coins will give you a coronary if you're not careful. I've spent a lot of money trying to grade these things, and you know, it's a lot tougher than it looks. This one right here sold for $2,640. Again, this is another 66 full stepper. 53. Again, this one has virtually no luster on this photo right here, but it does have the steps. And you have the requisite kind of like planchet nicks and marks, which was actually on the blank before it was struck. So even while striking this coin, nickel is such a hard composition that it doesn't quite, you know, put all the devices in order to shape out some of those particular planchet marks. So you get stuff that looks like this, which in my estimation is not an attractive look. But this one right here, ladies and gentlemen, brought home a 66 full steps through PCGS. And this one sold for $3,853.20. And the last 50s nickel on the list is going to be this 51S. Now this one is a little bit more promising. It does have lots of luster, a lot of flow lines on here. I mean, just a decent looking coin. You know, it's got a few nicks. So it's not perfect by any stretch, but again, if you're looking for a nice high quality piece for your registry set and you want to pad the lead with some good points, this is a good one right here. Now this one right here is graded NGC Mid-State 67, and it's also a 5FS version too. This one right here is sold for $3,840. 49S. This one, I like the toning on this one, as you can see. This coin is probably one of my favorites on this list. But 49S is such a easy date and mint mark to find, you know, some pretty decent steps on. I found a few of them, but I have never graded them only because I'm not into that right now. I just like talking about it because it's so interesting to see these coins that are barely 60, 70 years old sell for so much money. But what you don't want to do is get caught up in the ether to just want to go out and do it all by your own, because if you're new to the hobby and all you're doing is chasing the stars and the money and all that great stuff, you know, that's where a lot of the novice kind of problems and the mistakes come into play, and then, you know, you just end up losing a lot of money in submission fees, you know, which I see it all the time, and I keep telling folks, do not hastily go into that rabbit hole and expecting that to come out okay, because it usually doesn't. This one right here, pretty nice coin. PCGS Mid-State 67 full steps. I mean, this is a nice one here. Sold for $3,120. And we do have also another 47S. This time it's an NGC graded example, and this one does have 5FS as opposed to 6 full steps. So with all that considering, this coin right here sold for $2,400. So, you know, we do have this one right here graded by NGC. And then we also have this one right here, which this one is a PCGS graded 47S. This one's pretty nice. It's got some nice luster, some originality, that original, what I call skin on the coin. You know, that this coin hasn't been played with or cleaned or tampered with. It's a really nice original piece from back in the day. 67 full steps, so it is PCGS graded, which gives this one a little bit extra clout in the open market. And this one sold for $4,080. If you guys were looking to send coins to NGC or PCGS, just know that PCGS graded coins of the same numerical grade and same step designation will usually command about 25 to 35% more in value, only because it does. You know, PCGS has always been the gold standard, when NGC has kind of been like the silver standard, I guess, in terms of just the hierarchy of, you know, who's more important and who's more desirable in the secondary market, and it's always PCGS all the way. Now, the most colorful of the bunch is this Wartime Silver Nickel. It's a 44D. Now, 44Ds, or any Denver struck silver Wartime nickel, isn't known to have too many problems. These are all generally well struck, as you would expect for a Denver minted coin, but this one also has some pretty nice toning. The color on this coin is all original. I mean, this isn't something that can be baked in overnight. But this one was probably sitting in a roll as an end coin, or perhaps in an album or somewhere, to be able to capture this kind of colorization over time. This one right here is a mint state 68 full steps, which just goes to show you that, again, these 35% silver manganese planchets strike up a whole heck of a lot better than the regular nickel planchets. This one right here sold for a cool $6,000. This is our thumbnail coin for this video. And then the final and the 14th nickel, before we get into the huge error coins, is going to be another 1939. This time a really notable variety. Now, I had talked about one of these that had sold on, I believe, Great Collections a few weeks ago. But this is the doubled Monticello version. So it's a DDR. It's also the FS801 for all you cherry pickers guide nuts out there. But you can just see the copious amounts of doubling right here in 5 cents in Monticello. It's a beautiful coin. Very rarely will you come across some of these coins with full steps. This one looks pretty good. And it's not full steps, believe it or not. This one is just a straight graded 67 with no full steps, and it's also CAC certified as well. That's what that green bean is there. This is a really pretty coin, a nice high-end example of this variety, and it sold for $3,540. This, I believe, is not the top grade, because I believe those ones sell for about $10,000, and I believe it's either, let's say, a 68 or a 68 plus. So, I mean, you know, those are pretty substantial grades for this coin, but 1939s are generally well struck, and the luster is fantastic on any of those mid-state examples. Okay, so we do have a couple errors, like I had mentioned, and this one right here is a 1983P Jefferson nickel. This is a circulation business strike coin that was struck on a copper. Is it copper? Yeah, a copper, like a pre-1982. So this is an 83. So that in itself is kind of crazy because, as you guys know, the U.S. Mint was now producing copper-coated zinc coins. So this was like a leftover copper planchet. And this one was, struck over that size copper penny planchet. As you can see, there's a lot of devices missing. In God We Trust is cut in half. I mean, this is pretty close to the size of a penny. And it's just a mistake. It's a different planchet. And, you know, when you have something like this and you have that robust red that you normally see on a penny for a mid-state coin, but only see it in a nickel, it's something extraordinary. This one right here, grade-wise, is a Mint State 65 red. It weighs in at 3.1 grams, which is exactly what a copper planchet is for a Lincoln cent. But this one right here, ladies and gentlemen, sold for $4,800. Not too bad. And we do have a similar one, this time on a proof Jefferson nickel. Now, how in the world does this happen? Well, believe it or not, these things actually make their way into proof sets. So generally these will be found in proof sets and they're just inserted in there by error, which, you know, it happens. Stuff like this does happen. But this one right here is a 1976S Jefferson nickel that was struck over a proof copper planchet intended for a Lincoln cent. This one right here, grade-wise, is huge. It's an NGC proof 68. And it's also ultra cameo. Just look how frosty the devices are on this particular image grab for this coin. And again, it weighs in at 3.1 grams. That's legit. That's what you want to see. And this one right here is sold for $4,080, which is strange because I thought this one would sell for quite a bit more compared to the 83 that we saw before it. But I think the rhyme or reason was that there was a little bit of a transitional error in play with that 1983, considering, again, like I had mentioned, in 1983, the U.S. Mint was producing strictly copper-coated zinc planchets back in the day, but that coin was struck on some of the earlier bronze planchets, which is strange because, you know, it's been 1 year removed, and then now all of a sudden it ends up on an error coin. Huh, go figure. But that is the last coin on this list of just insane coins from Central States Numismatic Show. I really wanted to highlight the Lincoln cents that did sell from this show, along with the nickels, because they are the two most popular denominations to collect. Some would argue Washington quarters might be one of them, but this will be my official last kind of follow-up show on Central States. It was a pretty good show. You guys can always check out the show results on heritage.com. They also have the archives listed right now. And they'll probably have it up for a few more months. But a lot of really strong sales were on tap for that. So if you guys have coins that you want to sell, now's the time to do it. We know these big auction houses are starving for your consignments of quality coins. But that's going to go ahead and do it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. My personal favorite, I would say, is a cross between the 49S Jefferson nickel and the 39 DDR FS801. Those are my two favorites from this show. I would love to hear what your guys' favorite is from the nickel video that I just produced for you. Would love to hear your thoughts. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge. You guys know me by name by now. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hit that good old bell for instant notifications. And as always, Coinaholics, guess what? We're discovering together every single day. So with that, I bid you guys a fond good night, and I will see you on the next coin video. So long.